So I want to talk about a couple of things. First being why I decided to do a motorcycle license, what it is that attracted me to motorcycles, I guess. It's kind of a subjective subject. I think many different people have different reasons why, but obviously the thing I guess we share in common is the fact that we love motorcycles. I don't think I've ever met a motorcyclist who hates motorcycles. I've met car drivers who hate driving cars. I myself hate driving cars. I think it's a luxury these days. It's not an asset really. But back onto the subject, when I was young, I think the greatest influence was my father. He had a Vespa. He's had a number of motorbikes over the years. Didn't really ride much when I was around, but I know when he was younger he had a Suzuki Katana, and he's had a number of Vespas and things like that. But the fondest memory I have of motorcycle riding or scooter riding, whatever you want to call it, is when my dad used to come and pick me up from school on a Vespa PX 200, which he had acquired from a friend, and I loved riding on the back of that thing. And that's probably why I love Vespas, man. I always wanted a 50 special with the Yankee saddle. Built on with like a 125 bore out kit, Paulini or whatever. It's always been a dream of mine to own a Vespa. But progressing from that, I guess I kind of, lost my way a little bit when I came to the UK, because I met friends, and my friends, or former friends had cars, and so I got into cars and started tinkering with cars, which is how I acquired most of the engine knowledge I have now. Learned a lot from it, but my God, was it a money pit. And I didn't really end up with much at the end of it. I had to scrap my car in the end and purchase a normal standard car, because I basically run it into the ground. I built a track car, then lost my job, and so I had to start using it as a daily, which ruined it basically. But oh well, lesson learned. In recent years I've changed the circle of friends I hang around with quite drastically. I cut a lot of people out in my life that were toxic, and they were holding me back, I think. And so when that happened, it was tough in the beginning, because you lose your routine, and you lose the people that you would usually spend time with, but eventually you find your own way again. And I think that's a good thing, because if people are toxic and they're holding you back, what you don't realise is you're missing out on opportunities, or potential opportunities that could arise by just expanding your mindset a little bit. And when I cut these people out of my life, well, first of all, I met a lovely young lady who I'm now with, engaged to, and I began looking around for new opportunities, and I decided that it was time to look into doing my motorcycle license. I sought out this new opportunity, and it took me a while to actually pursue it. I was looking into it, did my research, and looked at how much it would all cost, and it took me a while to get the money together to do it. That was a limiting factor, because the job I had at the time didn't pay enough for me to save the money I needed to do the license. But then eventually I did it, and now things are different. I'm a much happier person. I've experienced things and been places I wouldn't otherwise I've been to, and I've met people who are really interesting. You know, and I haven't had my full license for that long, so it kind of shows you quite how dramatically your quality of life can jump just because you ride a motorcycle. It's ridiculous. So yeah, I'm going to pull over now and get some ramen, I think, because I'm starving. I'm really hungry. I haven't eaten all day and I don't particularly feel well, so apologies if I sound a bit detached in this video, but I can't help it. I feel really sick, probably because I haven't eaten enough. So see you soon. Much better. I actually feel human now. I think I'm going to try and squeeze through there. No, he's going. Okay. So yeah, reasons why I ride. Well, first of all, I've always been attracted to it. I've always liked vehicles that have two wheels. I've always been into the more extreme side of things. I used to skateboard, I ride BMX, I ride trials. Just, this is the next thing up for me, I guess. Oh, hello. That's nice. Very nice indeed. I've always gone against the grain and done things a little bit differently, and after I made certain changes to my life, I found that I didn't have a lot to do, so my days were filled with time which I wasn't making the most of, which I wasn't using efficiently. And then one day I came across a video from Baron von Grumble, and you know, initially I thought, oh, what a cock. He's just one of those guys, but the more I started to watch him, he made me laugh, and I kind of agreed with the opinions he was getting across, but then I realised that that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to ride a motorbike. And then I found Royal Jordanian, and again, these people spurred me on to pursue my motorcycle riding dream. Watching Baron and Royal Jordanian, and then Thunder 71 as well, actually, I thought, oh, I really want to do this. And then my personal circumstances changed. I was able to finally save some money aside to put towards doing a license, and so I did my CBT. I just went and did it, and I was a little bit nervous and I didn't know what it was going to entail, and I will talk about that, the CBT specifically, in another video. I guess what we're talking about here is the philosophy of pursuing and achieving what it is that you want to achieve or what you want to obtain. I wanted change in my life because I'd had a negative experience. I'd invested time with people who didn't deserve it, but when I decided to leave those people behind, I had nothing really, nothing to do and no one to do it with, so it kind of left me at a bit of a crossroads. Do I keep living my life miserably and stay miserable and just hope that, you know, someone else comes along, or do I do something about it? Do I take control of my life and pursue what I want to do? And I had loads of people saying, nah man, don't do that, you'll kill yourself, it's dangerous. Everything's dangerous. You could go out in your car and you could have an accident. I think if you always think like that, if you think, oh, it's dangerous, you're never going to leave your house. You're always going to live your life in the 10 square miles of, you know, town or city or village that you live in. Whatever. I'm not about that. Just to try and break the pattern that you're part of, that you have created for yourself, is very challenging. I've been there myself, man. it took a lot of guts and a lot of thought for me to do it. And it started with getting in touch with a riding school and doing a CBT. And once I did the CBT, I was hooked. I wanted more, and I wanted it then and then. I overcame those challenges eventually. You know, you may fail your tests and things like that initially, but it doesn't matter, because eventually you will pass, as long as you don't treat it as a failure as such, because the failure is just what it says on the sheet, really, that you failed. Yeah, you failed a test, but you've also learned a lesson there. There is a lesson to be learned, and it is experience at the end of the day. I failed my mod 1 because I knocked a cone over on the hazard avoidance. What did I learn? Don't look at the cone. It's a hazard avoidance. If you stare at the hazard, you're going to go towards it. So don't stare at it. Look at the line that you want to go through, or that you want to follow, and you will follow it. And don't forget to come to a controlled stop afterwards, because you might fail if you don't. I failed my mod 2 twice. The first time I was speeding. The second time I caused an obstruction. What did I learn? And all these other drivers were speeding past me. I just opened the throttle a little bit, and I failed, because I wasn't riding for myself. I was being too careful as to what other people were doing, or cared about what other drivers were doing. Ignore them. You're riding for yourself. You know the rules of the road. I knew the rules of the road. I just panicked. The second time, again, I panicked. A lorry turned into my road at the last second before the light went green. The light was still red. There were cars obstructing his side of the road, so he had to manoeuvre and come onto my side of the road. There was enough space for him, but he had to crawl past me. I could have moved out of the way, but for some reason I didn't. And there was a yellow box in front of the junction. If I'd moved, I would have gone into the yellow box. And the instructor said, "Why didn't you move?" And I said, "Because of the yellow box." And he said, "Yeah, but if you just moved, it's the lesser of two evils." And the lorry got past me, so of course that made me very nervous and upset me somewhat. But then I just let go of the initial annoyance of failing the test a second time, and just appreciated the fact that the instructor did his job, or the examiner even did his job, and failed me because I was not ready. I know that now. You cannot live your life in fear of doing things, because you're always going to live in a box otherwise. You've got to pursue your dreams, no matter what other people tell you. If you want to do it, do it. So otherwise, you know, you surround yourself with these people that are naysayers. That's not right, man. True friends don't do that to you. True friends will encourage you to pursue your dreams. What has riding a motorcycle done for me? It's liberating. I find it liberating, mostly. It's challenging, and I like the fact that I can go out one day and different road conditions, it will affect the way I ride. And I like to look at my riding and improve my riding, and look at new techniques of steering the bike or leaning the bike. I'm very interested in that, and eventually, you know, I'd love to take the bike on a track or have my own track day bike. Right now I'm just enjoying the fact I've passed my test and I'm chilling out. It's been a while, and it's been a massive relief to know that I achieved this all by myself, because no one can help you. You know, your instructor will give you instructions, but at the end of the day, you're riding for yourself, not for the examiner, not for the riding school. You're riding for you. You want the license. You need to do the work to get it. And that's what I did. Don't let it knock you down if you don't do as well as you think you would, or if you fail a test. It's not easy. Especially at my age. I mean, I haven't been under test conditions for years, and it was quite nerve-wracking. When I retook my mod 2 the time I passed, I lost half a stone. And the morning of the test, I was so stressed out. I woke up and I'd been grinding my teeth in the night so much that my gums were bleeding. That's how stressed out I was. I couldn't help it because that's just my nature. I wanted it so bad that I just did not want to fail again. But hey ho, I've passed now, and that's what matters. Oh, good job I didn't do an overtake there. I've rambled on quite a bit about what I've been through. All I can say is, no matter, I mean, this applies to anything in life, not just getting your motorbike license. But don't be afraid to take the leap, because you will stumble and you will fall, but what matters is that you get back up and you work for what you want to achieve. And if you don't achieve it, well, you tried, but you've got to try harder. Don't give up. That's when you've been defeated. Actually, it reminds me, Buddy's Insight released a video recently talking about accidents and what to do, what he does, and how he prevents being involved in accidents. You know, he's been biking for 20 years and hasn't had a single crash. It's that's not luck. Well, I guess it is. Some of it is luck, probably, but you know, he has a lot to lose, man. He has a family, a wife, a house, bills to pay, so naturally he wants to look after himself, and so he rides in a manner which ups the chances of his survival on a motorcycle, which I think is a responsible and mature thing to do, because a lot of people take that for granted. And the video reminded me, I completely forgot about this, but I had a crash when I was 18 years old. It's about, what was that, about 12 years ago? No, 11 years ago? Yeah, about 11 years ago. And it nearly killed me. I completely forgot about that until he mentioned accidents in the video. And I just remembered, I was like, wow, I completely forgot that I nearly died when I was 18 years old because of a motorbike crash. And I'll explain what happened. I'll pull over here with some swans and ducks. I'll talk about what happened. I've been riding all summer, and I was in Italy, in my hometown, and I was racing home one night to get to my dad's for dinner, and it rained, and the whole summer I'd ridden in scorching heat with really grippy surface by the beach, so there was a little bit of dust around, but nothing dramatic. And I was in such a hurry that I kind of threw safety out the window. I mean, I wasn't trained to ride a motorbike, I just learned to ride it, and my dad gave me a few pointers, and I followed him for a couple of miles, and he was like, yeah, you're right. And I was safe until I was in a hurry. And so I was racing home, tried to overtake a car, and they pulled out on me. They tried to park on the opposite side of the road, and I smashed into the the near side rear quarter panel. The bike snapped in half, covered me in petrol. I just locked on the brakes and I slid, basically, because I didn't have experience. And my shoulder hit the roof pillar, my right shoulder hit the roof pillar, which stopped me from going through the rest of the car, which probably would have killed me. My head went through the window, and then I bounced out of the car, sort of. I kind of got stuck because the roof pillar wrapped itself around my shoulder, and then I had to yank myself out in a way, because I was conscious throughout. But then once I sort of, you know, the shock kicked in, I kind of collapsed and was in and out for a little bit until the ambulance came. And I managed to phone my dad, who arrived eventually. He was not happy, but he was mostly concerned with my well-being, obviously. But Buddy's insight's right. You know, you don't learn until you're in that situation, and I think subconsciously that's made me a much safer rider than I used to be. Because I mean, I was 18, I was young, I had the need for speed, so to speak, and yeah, I took risks, but not that many. It's just that I hadn't ridden in the rain before, of course, and with the dust from the sand, because I was in a beach area, dust turned to sort of like a slimy substance which littered the road, and of course when I put the brake on, the bike just slid, man. And that was it. I thought I was going to die, and I could have done if I'd been 2 inches to the left. My shoulder would have, you know, cleared the pillar, and I would have gone through the car, probably snapping my back, or, you know, completely separating my spine. I don't know. If I'd been 2 inches to the right, my head would have hit the pillar, and I would have snapped my neck. And I wasn't going slow. I was going quite fast. But you learn, and I learn, and I don't take those risks anymore because I want to live. People who have inspired me to pursue my motorcycling dreams: Baron von Grumble, Chris from 44 Teeth. I think he was the first moto vlogger I ever came across, and I was hooked. As soon as I saw the first episode, I spent possibly a month watching every single video he published, and that's a lot of videos. What I like about Baron is just that he says things how they are. He's not afraid to say it how it is, and I appreciate that, because there's a lot of people who are, let's say, politically correct and won't say certain things on camera, but he doesn't seem to be bothered about that. Royal Jordanian's also been a large inspiration on especially the 70% rule. It basically says don't ever ride beyond your ability, and I don't do that. Always stick to that 70% rule. I think it's true, and I think it works. And obviously Royal Jordanian is one of, I don't know, he's one of those people that I can't see how anybody can go on his channel and not like what he puts out. And the way he rides, the way he behaves on the road has inspired me in so many ways, and it really helped me to get myself out there and get this license done. Another one, Thunderous 71. Calm, collected, not ever really had anything bad to say about anybody. Obviously he's come across his fair share of dimwits on the road, but he never rages, he never gets angry, he always deals with the situation calmly, collectively, thinks, and I like that a lot. There are so many other vloggers who, you know, I've drawn lessons from, who have inspired me and contributed to my sort of will to do things. There's too many to mention. I will maybe make a list one day, but I can't right now. There's people in my life who, you know, were concerned about me doing this, and rightly so, because it can be dangerous. But as long as you have respect for the vehicle, respect for the road, respect for the people around you, and respect for the training that has been provided for you, there's no reason why you should incur any danger, or you should come under any form of danger. But yeah, I've had support from my family, which is great. My dad has kind of quietly approved of me doing this. He has his own way of expressing his feelings, but in his own little weird way, I think he's happy for me. Yeah, I couldn't be more over the moon. I'm ecstatic, and every day I look forward to getting out of bed for a change. I went a long time feeling, I guess you could say, depressed. I'm not being diagnosed with depression or anything like that, but you know, I feel happier now than I did before, and before I wasn't happy at all. I didn't see the point in doing things or pursuing activities or hobbies, especially after the changes I made to my circuit of friends. Yeah, that was a difficult time for me, but eventually I've made myself snap out of it. I found the strength to just get on with it and do what I want, and now I'm happy, and I've got a Z800, and it's awesome. As long as you're happy, that's what matters. Do what you got to do. I hope this video helps any of you in some way to pursue your dreams, and or maybe feel better about your life, and inspires you to take steps to better your life. I don't know. I don't really speak to my subscribers. I've only got 20, so. But if anybody ever wants to talk or has questions, obviously, you know, just drop me a comment or drop me an email, and I'll do my best to reply.